Okay, I'm going to start. So let's continue. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll discuss some other topic, but today let me randomly discuss some other things. तो Python में जो मेरी रह गई है. Um, रह नहीं गई. For example, if I have a, because you should be aware of this, the syntax of Python. Well, obviously, you have to practice as well. If you don't practice, you will not be able to remember the syntax. आप साथ साथ practice करते हो, जो कुछ मैं करूँगा आप practice करो. So obviously, this is the way we can use the if statement in Python. If b is greater than a, then we have is print b is greater than a. Indentation is something important because if I don't indent, you can see over here, if I don't indent, it will give me that indentation error. So indentation is something really important in Python. You have to indent. So that's the way you can do the simple thing, simple if. We can also use is the else if. How to use the else if? We write else if as elif, okay? Not else if, we write elif. For example, we can say if a is double equals to, or we can say is if b is less than a, we can say that print b is less than a. Right, so if I make this 20, then I get this, and if I make this 200, I get b is greater than a. Right? Get the point? Right. Okay. One second, why do I have less space available? Just 1 second. Why? Okay, it's fine, it will work. For today it will work. Right. So you have, again, I'm saying you have to remember the syntax. Okay. Pseudo code तब लिख लोगे मगर Python के लिए when you get the question in P3 especially, you have to remember the following syntax. ठीक है? Right. So ये हमारा हो गया. Then we will discuss is the and. Let's discuss the and. How can we use the and? For example, and को कैसे use करेंगे? For example, if I have a result, मैं कहता हूँ c is equals to, let's say 500. Say over here is if let's say a is greater than b, and frankly you might have noticed the syntax even Java से भी ज़्यादा आसान है. Is greater than a, and then we can say over here is print, sorry, conditions are true. Is इसको हम so you see a is greater than b and c is greater than a. So this is how we can use the and, right? We can even, if you write the or over here, we can use or in the same manner as well. So that's how we can use it. बल्कि मुझे काम चाहिए था. Just give me 1 second. Let me just type all this somewhere so that I can share it with you. ज़्यादा आसान हो जाएगा. Let me share this. And So whatever I do, I'll keep on typing over here. So और भी हम कर सकते हैं. We can even use or over here as well. वो तो मैं आपको and किसी और भी आप लगा सकते हैं. Not a big problem. Let's discuss next our if statement कर ली हमने. Else if भी कर ली. Remember it's elif. Remember that it's not else, it's elif. बाकी it's the same thing. Let's discuss the Python loops. Let's discuss the while loop first. Okay. So I can say over here is, let's say a is equals to 1, and I can say over here is while a is less than 6 probably, and then I can have over here is print a, print a, and then I can have over here is a plus is equals to 1. So a plus equals to 1 means incrementing every time. Naming error, what did I do? New reply. Should not have a problem, by the way. Oh, sorry. Just like the way we also did in Java, same way. सिर्फ फर्क ये था वो हमने किया था a plus plus, but say even in Word you can use the same thing as well. A plus is equals to 1, which means a is equals to a plus 1. This is a short form of that. A is equals to a plus 1. So that's how you use the while loop over here. While this condition, then you do it. Okay. What do we call this? Remember I discussed this with you. We have a precondition loop and a post-condition loop. What is this? A precondition or a post-condition? Are you with me? When is the condition? If we have the condition, is the condition coming before or condition is coming afterwards? Depends on the speaker, na?
Precondition.
Yes, exactly. It's a precondition loop. ठीक है, इसमें हम ये भी कर सकते हैं कि I can even discuss with you is the break. Break statement किस तरह use कर सकते हैं? For example, I can say if when a becomes equals to 3, we could use is the break. Okay, now what happens with the break? Let's have a look. If I run this, I go till 3. So what's happened is I initialize variable. I have a condition that it should be less than 6 or less than equal to, and print a. Fine. So in normal case it would print 1 to 5. But what happens is I'm saying is if a is 3, if a becomes equal to 3. Now remember double equal to is a comparison. Okay, single equal to is assigning. हम पहले बात कर चुके हैं इसकी बार-बार. So don't forget it. Then break it, which means when this comes, then you break it. So whenever at any instance you want to break within a loop, you can use the break thing. Okay, so don't forget it. Okay. Oh, मैंने ये copy करना था. Did I discuss something? Yeah, simple. Okay, for example, I can have over here is, let's say, Now, this is an example of how we can basically use the for in basically Python. Okay, Python for loop. So what happens over here is that uh, there's indexing. मैंने laptop में define कर दी है within an array. So I've used a variable x. So for x in laptop. So one by one, जो for का है loop, it goes and fetches this way. So you don't actually have to use increment plus like x is equals to x plus one. वो करने की जरूरत नहीं है. सिर्फ करते हैं for x in you define the variable and it will one by one do it. Like I said, it's shorter in code. It's easier. Other programming languages, they tend to be much more extensive. So that's how you can use the for in. हम discuss करते रहेंगे for in को बार बार. In fact, we will start doing more activities so that ज़्यादा clear हो जाए. So for in को हम ये कोई भी चीज कर लेंगे तो it will obviously display that, which basically means मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ कि I could say is for oh sorry. So what happens is one by one, it does is it displays each and every. So when you write a string, those string में तो every character is treated as a different element. When we were discussing array में तो obviously comma separate values होती हैं and every value is a different element. So you see Toshiba one by one for x and one by one it displays them. Okay, that's how you can loop in with for within a word. So your particular string characters are also treated as an array as well. ये सारा जब हम आगे जाके यूज करेंगे for an activity आपको ज्यादा क्लियर होगा how is this useful. Are you with me? No questions, nothing. Okay, let's use the break statement. इधर ही break करते हैं. I have not deleted it. Let's say I have again is मुझे दोबारा क्यों टाइप करना पड़ रहा है laptops again. We can use the break statement here as well. So for example, just fast out ADP. I'll have बाकी क्यों नहीं है? They'll have I don't know. You just have to put this colon, remember, every time. You have to print x, and let's say now if I want to give you an example, if I let's say if x is double equal to Shiba, then I will probably break. Right. So it displays these two, then it can break. So you can even break within an array as well. Okay, you can even do that. Right? Any problem? But are you with me, both of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For a while, I just thought कि मैं खुद ही बोले जा रहा हूँ. Okay, is it clear? ये अपने साथ साथ practice करना है and you can even ask me afterwards अगर आपको कोई चीज़ की समझना है. All the basic है. You have to remember the syntax. You have to remember it. I'm telling you, just like you learn any language, human language, same way इस languages के लिए भी you have to sort of like at partially you have to cram, and then obviously you have to make concept clear. इसी तरह आपकी computational thinking develop होगी, and then you will be able to solve problems with me. अगर आपको syntax ही नहीं आएगा, how will we be able to solve a problem? Okay, so that's the way this has to be done. Okay, let's discuss. हमने discuss किया था Java में functions. Let's discuss how functions can be created over here in Python. How we create a function in Python is we use the def, which stands for definition. Let's define, let's say my function. Okay, same way we define my function, and I could say over here is print. This is what my function is doing, just like the way we used to do the alert thingy and all that. It's quite the same as you can see. Okay, this is just like now. Obviously, if I run this, nothing will happen. हम पहले discuss कर चुके हैं ये कि functions are there when you call them somewhere. They have to be called. Event handling कहते हैं. So if I write over here is my function, obviously what will happen is, why didn't it appear? That's weird. It's not appearing. Have my function. And then does not. No, fine. My function should be. इसको मैं एक बार 6 एग्जांपल से ट्राई कर लेता हूँ. I can use. That's weird. By the way, def my function, correct. Right. Actually, my mistake. अब जब आप function को दोबारा call करना होता है, उसकी जो indentation है, you have to remember, it should not be. Now this you have to remember. It has to be along with the definition. Definition my function. This has to be indented along with it. Java में indentation plays a very vital role. If you don't indent properly, it is not going to work. So gradually you will remember. The function मैंने declare किया, function को जब अपने call करना है, उसकी calling has to be in the same indentation place जो अब definition में था. That's how you can define a function, and that's how you can call a function initially. Right? नूर पहले आई थी. She's just joining now. So we can also do is, let's say I can use, let me just remove this. Noor, did you join again, or you left?
I joined again. My internet isn't working well.
Okay. Are you again out of city, or? Let me just first type this and I'll tell you. Then I'll just explain what I'm doing. Oh. My function and let me call within the function is okay. So what's happening over here is you have is a space over here. The space should work. Right. You can now define parameter values within your function. Okay, and that's how we do it. You can define a function, and within the function, inside you can define a parameter, um, any variable. Okay, I've defined f name over here. Later on मैंने क्या किया मैंने I printed f name और मैंने इसको concatenate कर दिया plus कर दिया with user defined string sign. Okay, fine, nothing much. So print के अंदर I've defined a variable और plus मैंने ये कर दिया, right? Then what I'm doing is I'm calling the function in three different modes. The first mode is I wrote my own user defined string वासल, ठीक है, within my function f name, ठीक है. So f name के अंदर I've defined वासल, okay, isa and sign. So obviously print के अंदर plus तो हो ही रहा है, but this f name is changing over here. So that's why I get वासल isa sign over here. Wasil, Isa, and Zafar. You get my point. So the discussion over here is okay, within functions, in functions, you can define your parameter values. And later on, when you call them back, you can define different attributes within these you've defined. Yes, clear हुआ है बात. That's how this can be done. Again, इसकी example, elaborate example हम next with an example discuss करेंगे कि how can this be used somewhere else. But the point is functions do not stand alone. हाँ, Java में भी हम ये कर सकते थे, करते थे, मगर I did not have to discuss all that with you in Java. हमारा जरूरत नहीं थी उसमें discussion करने की, जहाँ तक ये वो बहुत था. मगर यहाँ it's important we should know कि within function में बार repeat कर रहा हूँ. Okay, we can define variables and later on we can call them wherever we want to by defining specific attributes within the function values. As gradually we proceed further, things will be much more clear in this. Till now, how do you feel? How is it? Noor, how do you feel this is till now? जितना हमने कर लिया अभी तक. It's not complicated, is it?
No, sir.
It's pretty easy, isn't it? मतलब आप एक बार आपको syntax बस को याद करना है, and frankly speaking, it's easier than Java. अच्छा, let me discuss further as well क्योंकि मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि हम आगे जाके और advanced चीजों पे आ जाएं. Let's talk about data types in Java. That's important as well. कल हम string manipulation वगैरह discuss करेंगे. Let's say if I say x is equals to 5, क्योंकि ये सारे bases हैं. If all these things are clear, आगे काम बहुत आसान हो जाएगा. I'm telling you. This is the main thing. Frankly, this is everything I say. Languages में अगर loops, string manipulation, array manipulation, उस language का आपको आ जाए, then there's nothing left, frankly speaking. Type, and let's say I will say over here is x. Now, if I run this, it tells me that this is class integer, int. So because obviously when x is declared as 5, it's declared as an integer. Now, if I obviously type over here is this will be defined as class string because obviously it's a string, right? It's a string. And if I say, let's say, let's go change that into 3.5. In 3.5, I karunga, so this becomes a float. Float is basically your decimal. Whenever you have decimals, it's considered as a float. ओके, उसको हम फ्लोट कहते हैं। आपने मैथ्स में कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स पढ़े हुए हैं? मुझे लगता है लास्ट टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर डिस्कस किया था आपके साथ जे के साथ। सो कॉम्प्लेक्स, दिस इज कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर. So if I define this is a complex. It's a complex number. Okay. And then if I define this as um, comma separate values such as an array, I can define over here is it's a list. Okay. It defines it as basically a list, or probably you can even call it an array. Okay, an array is a list in Python. Okay, right. So data types का ये फायदा हो रहा है कि we can know what these data types are. अच्छा, इसमें there is something known as a tuple. Okay, a tuple basically is. Now, if I put this in brackets, this becomes a tuple. We'll discuss in more detail that how it's different. Okay, tuple is a bit different from an array. जाके हम डिस्कस करेंगे बाद में. Okay, ठीक है बेटा. इसके बाद we also have, we can discuss is data type और कौन सी हमें आएगी डिस्कस करने के लिए. Range, yeah, ranges we will use to define any particular ranges. For example, I can define array is 6. So this is defined as a range. Okay. और बाकी रेंज को हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. बट जो बूलियन होता है उसको वी डोंट राइट बूलियन. दिस इज जस्ट क्लास टाइप. इट्स बूलियन. ओके, राइट. So sorry, if I write over is true. It says bool, which is boolean. Okay. और वैसे तो और भी होती है, मगर जरूरत नहीं है हमें वो डिस्कस करने की. It will become more extensive, but these are data types that are important for us. Oops, मैंने सारी नहीं डिफाइन की. मैं कॉपी करके कर दूं क्योंकि they're important. What is this? जो डिस्कस कर रहे हैं उसका बेहतर है कि आप यू कैन प्रैक्टिस विद. वरना आप भी भूल जाओगे हमने क्या क्या डिस्कस किया. ओके, व्हाट एल्स इज, ये भी डिस्कस हो गया. इसके बाद हमने क्या डिस्कस करना है? कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स को भी हम डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे. ये बेटा और प्रीवियस नोट्स में शेयर कर देता हूँ आपके साथ. पहले इनको प्रैक्टिस कर लो, ठीक है? बेसिक, एंड लेट मी शेयर वन बेसिक एक्टिविटीज विद यू. ये प्रैक्टिस करने के बाद डू द एक्टिविटीज. कल हम स्ट्रिंग अरे मैनिपुलेशन and we'll start discussing more intermediate and advanced discussions from tomorrow. इंशाल्लाह हमारी शुरू हो जाएगी, ठीक है? और हम मेरे ख्याल से अगले वीक तक हमारे खत्म भी हो जाएगा, because we don't have to do a lot of extensive. बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है नहीं करने की, इतना हो जाएगा कि वी कैन इजीली टैकल प्रॉब्लम्स। बल्कि मैं वहां तक मैं आपको करा दूंगा कि P4 क्वेश्चंस भी हमसे हो जाएं, तो हम नहीं, वी आर नॉट गोइंग फॉर इट, मगर आई विल डू विद यू कि P4 तक हमारा प्रोग्रामिंग पार्ट हो जाए इन केस। ठीक है, नो यू विद मी? और नो वन इज विद?
Yes, sir.
ओके, यू आर द ओनली वन। खैर, व्हाई वुड यू नो, बाकी क्यों नहीं आए क्लास में? एनीवे, नूर और कौन थी, निम्रा थी बस यार, है ना?
Yes, sir.
बस ठीक है, आप दोनों की अटेंडेंस है। तो बेटा आप ये प्रैक्टिस ये करो, ठीक है? और start from P1 again, okay? Start doing the papers P1, P2, P3, okay? Make sure now we have perfection in all this. Perfection, एक गलती भी ना हमसे हो इनमें। You get my point? क्योंकि अगर if we'll be based on this, तो we should not be losing a single mark. Get my point? जिस टॉपिक में कंफ्यूजन है बता देना, we'll require start revision from there again, जब ये सारा हो जाएगा मेरा प्रोग्रामिंग। ठीक है राइट बेटा? मैं इसकी वीडियो शेयर करता हूँ, ये और ये भी है। एनी क्वेश्चन बेटा?
Okay, sir.
एनी क्वेश्चन?
No, sir.
ओके ओके बेटा, सी यू टुमारो इंशाल्लाह। ओके ओके।